Okay, the episode in The Simpsons where Bart and Lisa see the TV advert for the water park, Mount Splashmore. Now, what happens in that episode is for the next 2 or 3 days, they constantly harass Homer. Will you take us to Mount Splashmore? No. Will you take us to Mount Splashmore? No. Will you take us to Mount Splashmore? And so on. Lisa and Bart have learned over the previous 8 and 10 years of their life that behaviour of harassing Homer is successful and will eventually pay. Okay, so that's a massive amount of behaviour. They're doing the same behaviour for 2 or 3 days before they get payment for it because it's worth it to them to keep trying that behaviour. Okay, so 2 examples. First one is pulling in a lead. Your dog pulls in the lead and has a history of pulling on the lead. If we now decide that we're now no longer going to reinforce pulling on the lead, and occasionally there are 2 dogs about 50 yards, which is why she's spying them like this, and this is one of the behaviours we're working on with her just now. So the dog pulls in the lead and has a big history of doing that. It now means that if you reinforce or allow the dog to be reinforced for pulling in the lead at all, which means the dog pulls in the lead and gets to move forward, you're still paying back into that behaviour. So when you decide to do loose lead walking with your dog, you need to train loose lead walking until the dog now walks on a loose lead all the time. And you need to be prepared for the fact that I can now no longer let my dog pull ever again, because it's just continuing to pay into that behaviour, which has already been seriously reinforced over the previous months or years of the dog's life. Second example with barking. The dog barks and gets attention. You now decide that you're now no longer going to reinforce barking. You now need to completely ignore the barking. The only problem with that is we need to look at why the dog's barking in the first place, but say the dog is just barking for attention. If the dog barks 40 times and we tell the dog to be quiet, we've now paid the dog for barking. What happens now is the dog gets to 40 times the next time she wants attention and we ignore it, so she then tries another 20 or 30 or 40 times. That tries our patience, and we then tell the dog to be quiet again. So you see how just paying every now and then those behaviours keeps those behaviours going if they've already been previously trained. So Bart Simpson in Mount Splashmore, dog pulling in a lead and a dog barking. If you don't want these behaviours, make sure they don't pay and they'll go away.